Hello and welcome to A Cup of Grace and Lori. My name is Grace.
And I'm Lori.
In today's episode, I thought that we would start off our episode by just letting you know about an event that Lori and I attended a few days ago at Yorkdale Mall. So it was called the Friends Experience.
Mhm.
So it was, I guess, a tribute to the popular sitcom Friends. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it was, a phenomenon in the 90s, was it? I don't
Yes,
know.
yes. It started in the
And
90s.
yeah, so we have some footage to share with you. So we
Mhm.
took a lot of pictures because they set up the event where basically the really iconic uh, set of that sitcom was recreated. So,
Yeah.
we got to sit in Central Perk, that famous couch, and, we played, what is it, foosball in
Foosball, yeah.
Chandler's or Joey's apartment. So we
Yeah.
have some images to share with you
And
because
we
it
fooled
was it
around.
was
We
pretty
we
cool.
we messed around in Monica's kitchen. No, we didn't touch the
I
props.
know. Yes, yes, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, the props were actually glued or
Oh,
they
they
were
were.
like
Yeah, you
we couldn't
can't.
move them.
They say don't touch the props, but what's really cool is that the staff there, they kind of encourage you to take photos because I wasn't sure how that was going to work, but they're like, oh, do you want your photo taken? We're like, yeah, of course.
Yes.
So each room, Grace and I had our photo taken like together, sitting on the couch or playing foosball or whatever. So that was really fun, and I'm so glad that they not only encouraged it, but they take the photos of you.
Yeah,
So
we
that's
didn't have to take the photos. My assumption was
yeah,
that we would have to take our own photos,
I
take selfies,
know.
but they took really
Yeah,
good
good
pictures.
photos. I know. So
Yeah,
hopefully we'll put a couple up here or so you
because
can
we took a
see.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they did take a lot. But it was
Yeah.
really fun if you're a fan of the show. It's
Hmm.
running until I think January 2nd, 2023 at Yorkdale. So we
Yeah, you
definitely
got a few months.
recommend you go with your friend.
What songs did Phoebe sing?
Smelly cat.
Smelly Cat. Oh, okay. Smelly, smelly, smelly.
So we just want to mention that, and
Yeah.
but for the bulk of this podcast,
Yeah.
I'm going to just hand it on over to Lori, and you can
Okay.
introduce the topic.
I thought I would talk about habits and adopting good habits. And
Hmm.
the reason I thought of this is I'm starting a book club in, I think it's 2 weeks' time, September 29th. And obviously, with a book club, you have to read the book. It's once a month, but still, you have to find the time to read the book, right? Otherwise, what's the
Yeah.
point?
Hmm.
So um, I was a bit concerned about that because I'm like, okay, I hope I have enough time to read the book. So what I've done, I'm a bit of an I don't want to say a news junkie. I'm not a news junkie because I don't watch all the different channels, but I do watch the 6 o'clock news. It's just
Hmm.
a habit. Um, and I thought to myself, okay, instead of watching, I told myself, look, just watch the first 10 or 15 minutes. That's when all the important stories are on, right? The rest of it is mostly filler. If you watch the whole broadcast, usually if it's a top story, they broadcast it in the first 10, 15, well, 10 minutes actually. So I thought, okay, just watch the first 10, 15 minutes, turn it off, and then go outside and read a couple chapters of your book. And I
Okay.
started doing this, and the weather's still nice here. So it's nice to sit outside still, right? And it's
Hmm.
still light, at least until, I don't know, I think it's getting darker earlier, but it's still light at that time. So I started doing that, and I was like, oh, wow, I'm making progress through my book. And
Hmm.
it's like I found some extra time. So I, I thought, okay, this was a good way of adopting a new habit, um, right? Because I think I found that watching the news every night, first of all, uh, is it so good for us to watch that much news? Probably not, right? because half of it, 3/4 of it is negative. So it probably, it does affect you negatively. I still want to keep in touch because I work in media and everything, right? So I do want to keep in touch, but I don't need to watch the whole news. But I was so pleased because I thought, oh, I found some extra time in my day
Hmm.
to read my book, and I'm going to be prepared for my book club because I've
Okay.
already got one of them read already for this one, and I'm on to the second one already. It's
Oh,
like
they
for the
already,
following, they've already assigned the books. Yeah, so I know which
so they
books we're
give
going to
you a
read.
list already.
Yeah,
Okay, ahead of
so
time. All right.
I was really pleased about that, and it got me thinking, about our habits. Um, as it turns out, I had reserved this book at the library, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
I have a
So it
copy
just,
here, so I'll just show the cover.
yeah, it just so happened that I was on a wait list for a long time, and that book appeared. So I started reading that, and I found some great points in that. If you are thinking of trying to get rid of a bad habit, this might be helpful to you. So the first point I wanted to say was, he says, focus on the system rather than the goal. Okay, so let's say your goal is, oh, I want to walk, um, or let's see, I want to walk 5 kilometers, I don't know, 2 times a week. That's the goal. He says you focus on the system, which is how you're going to go about this, meaning what time are you going to do it? Are you going to walk in the morning? If so, get your fitness or walking clothing and shoes ready. Have them as soon as you wake up, have them there. Maybe if you're bringing something with you, have it right there. Um, so you're focusing on the system because he says it might take you a little while to reach your goal. I mean, I guess if you don't walk at all, that might take you, I don't know, a month or two, right? To be able to walk 5 kilometers twice a week. It could, right? I'm just
Hmm.
saying. So he says you don't have to wait until you achieve your goal to be happy. Be happy with working towards your goal, the system you've created.
The process.
So the process, exactly. So focus on the process and get the joy out of the process. The goal will come, but it's the process and that's so, it's like us doing this podcast. We have goals, obviously, for our podcast, but I mean, that might take a while, for us to reach our target audience or the numbers that we'd like to reach. So we have to enjoy the process of
Hmm.
doing our podcast. I that just occurred to me right now. So it's the same thing. It's like even if you're trying to lose weight, let's say you're trying to lose a lot of weight, like I did, like 30 or 40 pounds. Well, that can take 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever. So instead of saying, okay, in a year I'll be happy when I reach my goal, or for us, oh, we'll be happy when we reach our, no, 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 no. He says, be happy now in the process of reaching your goal. I thought that was really important,
Okay, I do.
because
Well,
because our goals usually take a little while to implement. It's like, why be miserable now and just tell yourself, oh, I'll be happy when I reach my goal? That doesn't make sense. So what do you
yeah,
think about that?
well, it's similar to what we often hear a lot about. Yeah, enjoy the journey. Not,
Hmm.
it's more about the journey, not the destination. So
Right.
I think that that is kind of what James Clear is getting at. It's
Yes.
easier said than done because yes, the focus in our culture is achieving.
Yeah.
It's the goal. It's getting the goal, and like that's how we think. It's like we project into the future and see our
Right.
happiness in the future
Right.
instead of in the present.
Right.
And that goes against what you and I are, I think, trying to embrace with the law of
Right.
attraction, right?
Right.
We have to embody um, what we envision
Yes.
is in the future, in the present moment,
Right.
right? So we
Right.
have to, yeah, like try to conjure up that joy in the
Yes.
present moment.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. So, I mean, I think that, but you're saying that's what we're doing, right? We're trying to enjoy the process, right? We're
it's
trying to focus on the journey, the process.
yes, but
So
it's a
you're
challenge. It's a
it
challenge because oftentimes we focus on the end results, right?
right. But if we enjoy what we're doing, it's not so much of a challenge. Like even take the walking example. I mean, going for a walk is so pleasurable, especially
That
now
is
when the
absolutely. Yes.
leaves are turning, right? The leaves are starting to turn. It's beautiful. So it's like um that's easy to appreciate the
But
journey of
not all things are easy to enjoy the process with.
okay, okay.
Like
But
some people may hate going to the gym.
okay,
You hear that
okay,
a lot, right? People
okay,
hate going to the gym, but they do it anyway
right.
because they do actually after the workout they feel good.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
there are things you can do to make the process more easier for you, more fun, you know, maybe it
You have to get creative, I guess.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in the gym instance, I love going to the gym, so I'm not a bad person to talk to
You're an
about that. But
exception. Yeah.
okay, my I would say, okay, get a fun workout clothes, right?
Well, also, when you and I went to the Sheraton Hotel for a
Yes.
night and
Oh, that
we checked out the gym, that was fun. Well, yeah, I guess you can make it more fun if you find a workout buddy, if you
yes,
find a friend, because
yes.
it was
It was
fun
fun.
being
It was
there.
fun.
But I'm sure it would have been less fun if I was there alone. So obviously, being with
True.
you made it such an
Yes.
enjoyable
Well,
experience, right?
that's a perfect example. Like in that case, there are ways to make the process more fun. Get a workout buddy. When if you're someone that doesn't enjoy going to the gym, right?
Hmm.
My or get some nice clothes that make you feel cool or whatever. That's just an example.
Hmm.
You can maybe do something nice for yourself after going to the gym. Um, Maybe get something healthy, like, reward yourself with a healthy juice smoothie or whatever. It's about making the process more attractive, more that we want to do it.
Hmm.
And that's the way we'll be able to adopt that habit. So I really did feel there was some value, a lot of value in that point.
Hmm.
The other thing he says is true behavioral change um, changes your identity. So it's like, do you want to run a kilometer or do you want to be a runner? Okay, so if you say, oh, my goal is just to run a kilometer, that's cool. But if you say, I want to become a runner, then that becomes part of your identity. And then it's easier for you to stick with that goal because your goal is in alignment with your identity. If you just say something random like, oh, I want to run a kilometer, but in your mind, you're thinking, I'm not a runner, then there's a clash, right?
Hmm.
Cognitive dissonance, whatever.
Hmm.
So we have to convince ourselves that we are a runner. No, I'm a runner, and 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 I run 5 kilometers a week, whatever. But he says the more that we change our identity versus just adopting a habit, that's with people that adopt a vegan lifestyle. They are vegan. It's not that they just eat vegan. Actually, that is a whole lifestyle. So, but they're vegan. They don't just eat vegan foods, right? It's part of their identity.
Hmm.
Um, but if we incorporate it into our identity, then we're more apt to do things that are in alignment with our identity, i.e., are we a reader? Are we a runner? Are we a vegan? Whatever. Versus just saying, oh, I want to run 5 kilometers. I want to eat vegan meals. I want to read a couple books a month or whatever. So I thought
Okay,
that
so
was,
that's kind of similar to what the other things that we hear from self-improvement gurus, like act as if,
yes,
act as
yes,
if.
act as if,
Yeah.
right.
And again,
And
like what, like with the law of attraction stuff, again, it's like they want you to, yeah, just um, quote unquote pretend
yes,
that you've already, you already have your heart's desires in your life.
yes,
You're
yes,
acting as if.
you are a
So
runner.
say you want
Yeah,
to, yeah, say you want to, this is a simple example, like, yeah, like you want to be financially abundant. You act as if you already are,
yes, yes,
right? So you take on
right.
that identity. Like how would that person dress, for
Yes,
example, someone who's
how would a
financially
wealthy
abundant?
person act?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, so another good point. He says, when you're about to commit a bad habit that you think is a bad habit, because something that you think is bad, someone else may think is fine, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's all relative. But if
Hmm.
you've identified some bad habits that you want to eliminate from your lifestyle, he calls it the point and call system. So you're about to eat a cookie. So he says, you should talk to yourself and say, I'm about to eat this cookie, even though I'm trying to lose weight. And I know that this cookie will make me gain weight or will not contribute to my goals. And I probably really don't need this. He says, talking to even to yourself, talking yourself through it, identifying when we're about to, oh, this would be good, like for shopping, if you're making an impulse buy or something. Although people at the store might think you're a bit crazy, although I've been in stores and um, several women talk to themselves.
Well,
I
you could
don't
also
talk
talk to
to
yourself
myself
in
as
your
much as
head. You don't have to
no,
talk to yourself out
true.
loud.
No, I know. I'm just being a bit funny here. But anyway, you can say, now, do I really need this? In your head, do I really need this? I'm about to buy this. It's going to throw my budget off. I'm going to have to find the money somewhere else. You could do that whole thing.
So talk yourself out of it.
Well, if if is not if it's something you want to do and you don't consider it a bad habit. I'm not saying if you intentionally went to the store to buy a pair of shoes or a dress and you find one, that's
Yeah, but
fine.
if you're a shopaholic,
But
if
if
you're a
you're
shopaholic,
impulsive buyer, right, and
uh-huh,
you want to stop yourself, he's
uh-huh.
telling you to, it's called the point and call system. So you say these things to yourself before you do it, right? And okay,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm about to do this, and here are the ramifications.
Mm.
This is what this means. This means that I'm not going to have money for this, or this means that whatever it is you're doing or about to do, this means you tell yourself beforehand. So hopefully that will bring an awareness to hopefully. I mean, I guess sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't when we can be impulsive, right? And
That
but
sounds like
anyway,
you need to have a lot of willpower.
you might, but maybe it's worth trying, right? It's worth trying.
Absolutely.
Another really good point. He says, it's not that disciplined people are so disciplined. It's that they avoid exposure to their bad habits. And it's funny because I quit smoking years ago, 25, I guess, at least 25 years ago. And one thing I said to myself was, okay, I can't, when I quit, was I can't be around smokers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I thought if I hang around smokers, I'm probably gonna smoke again, or it'll make it more tempting for me, right? So I
Yeah.
was very conscious of that. And I think I avoided bars, but at the time you could smoke in a bar, right? So I avoided bars. until I was like over the real hump, which probably was a good 6 months, maybe even a year, where I just said, okay, I'm not going to go to bars where they're smoking, or, I'm not going to be around someone who is smoking because I don't want to be tempted, right?
Yeah,
To
eliminate the temptation. Yeah.
right. So he
Hmm.
says that, when you look at people and you say, oh, they're so disciplined, they don't do this, they don't do that, or whatever. He says it's not that they're so disciplined and that they have like steel willpower.
Hmm.
They just have probably removed any of the temptations around
They
them.
put out boundaries.
They don't expose themselves to the temptations. Example,
Hmm.
like someone that doesn't, want to eat dessert, they just don't buy it. They just don't buy it. So it's not at home. There's no cake in the fridge or whatever, or cookies or whatever,
Yeah.
right? They just don't buy them. So they say, no, I don't want to expose myself to that. So it isn't so much that they're disciplined, it's just they don't expose themselves to the things that they don't want to do. So I think that was a very good point, because
Yeah,
I
that makes
sometimes,
sense.
yeah, sometimes I think, wow, that person is so disciplined, but maybe not. Maybe they just don't, maybe they're aware of their, weak spots, and then they say,
Hmm.
no, I'm not even going to have that in my house or whatever. So I thought
Yeah.
that was a really good point. Um, he says, bad habits offer us immediate satisfaction, but long-term pain. Again, I'm thinking of
Hmm.
the cookie or the,
Yeah.
the cake that we eat, and then we gain weight and it's so hard to get off, right? Whereas good habits probably don't offer immediate satisfaction, but they offer long-term gain. So
Well,
that's
that's
it.
probably why it's so hard for us to adopt
Right.
positive habits, because we like that immediate gratification.
But again, I'm going to go back to, let's make that habit more fun.
Hmm.
That good habit, i.e., going to the gym, going for a walk, whatever, if we make it more fun doing it, initially, when, especially in the beginning, when you're trying to establish a habit, then it will not only be satisfying in the beginning when we first start doing the habit, but it'll be satisfying when we reach the goal as well. So trying to make it more fun, making that habit that you're trying to start, to make it more fun, whether it be having a friend with you or whatever, or rewarding yourself with something healthy, um, or just in some other way that you can enjoy the process, then it's great. You enjoy the process and you're going to enjoy reaching the goal.
Hmm.
So I actually found a lot of helpful points in his book.
Hmm.
Now, here's one final point I'm going to end with, because this might contradict with a few things that we've talked about or read. And he actually quotes somebody else. In this isn't James Clear's thought; it's another writer's thought. He says, um, "When something starts to feel like work, you should stop doing it." And I thought that was
I love
really,
that.
I love it. I love that. When any task starts to feel like work, stop doing it. And I really like that. It it's like it's a way to keep the joy in your life, right?
It reminds me of a lot of the things that I read from the Abraham Hicks
Yeah, exactly.
material. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, we are, many of us are programmed to think, well, work is hard and we have to slug away at it, whatever. And
And
it's
it's a
like,
grind.
and
Yeah.
it's a grind, and it's like,
Hmm.
no, it's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be finding our bliss even when we're working, right? We're supposed to enjoy what we're doing. So if we're aware of how we feel, and I'm like this, like when I'm working on my blog or whatever, after a certain amount of time, I'm like, oh, this is getting tedious. And he's saying, stop. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me I can
He
stop.
gave you permission to
Gave me
stop.
permission because sometimes I just keep plugging away. And you know what? I'm not as productive when I'm feeling like when I've reached that point. It's like I'm pushing myself,
There's
and
resistance.
it's the joy has disappeared long time ago, right? And I'm
Mhm.
just trying to complete the task. And
Yeah.
no, I mean, now what you can do is just stop it, do something else. You can always go back to the task
Yeah, and take a break.
later. Yeah, take a break, do something that, refreshes you or whatever, and then go back to it later. He's not saying just totally abandon it, but he's just saying when you're feeling like it's work or drudgery, just stop it and do something else. So I actually found that very valuable. I
I agree with that one. Yes, that
I
is
I
very
needed to
valuable.
hear that. I
And
really
it's
needed to hear that.
that goes against the grain of what we're taught,
Oh,
right? So I
absolutely.
love that. I love that.
Absolutely. That one actually, I had a star beside that one because I thought, oh, this point is really probably one of the most important ones I read in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad he said that. I'm glad he
yeah.
said that
Mm-hmm.
because this book is quite popular. I mean,
Yeah,
it came out in 2018
right.
and I still see it at the bookstore at Indigo, like on
Oh,
the end on the displays
oh
at the
yeah.
front of the store. So it is still, relevant, and a lot of people obviously are, responding to the advice he has. So I'm
Yes.
glad that it's still around,
Oh, yes. I mean,
right?
it was on hold. I had it on hold for 6 months at the library. So, people are still wanting to read it. So, uh, anyway, that's my discussion on habits and how to improve them.
So are
But
you
I
going
will.
to, so the ones that you discussed today,
Mhm.
those are the ones that resonated with you particularly strongly, and then you want to try to incorporate in your own daily life?
Yes, the points that I raised, I want
Yeah.
to incorporate those principles when I'm, when just doing my work, or if I'm deciding, okay, I need to adopt a new habit, I'm going to keep all of this in mind when I'm, trying to improve some of my habits.
Hmm.
So for sure. Yeah, I found it very valuable. So I'm curious to hear what our listeners have to say about this. Are you trying to get rid of a bad habit or adopt new ones? If so, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear. What do you think about what we just discussed? Do you have a problem, adopting new habits, or are they easier for you? We'd love to hear your feedback as always. So thank you for joining in this week. I hope you have a
Hmm.
great week.
Thank you.
Bye.